In a recent interview on the Lex Friedman podcast, Elon Musk had some interesting things to say about the human hand.
So your forearm has the muscles that actually control your hand. There's a few small muscles in the hand itself, but your hand is really like a skeleton meat puppet, and with cables so the muscles that control your fingers are in your forearm, and they go through the carpal tunnel, which is that you've got a little collection of bones and a tiny tunnel that these cables, the tendons, go through, and those tendons are mostly what move your hands.
And Elon is not wrong. There are many, many tendons that pass under the carpal tunnel and control the flexion of your digit. However, there are perhaps an equal amount of tendons that cross the back of your wrist and pull your fingers back. They're encased in these sheaths, and then they are held down with something called your extensor retinaculum. If you didn't have your extensor retinaculum, when you pulled your fingers back, you would see big tenting here as the skin popped up from your wrist. It was surprising for me to learn how unique the index, thumb, and pinky are, and how they have individual and dedicated muscles for their movement. One of my favorite examples of this is the flexor pollicis longus, highlighted here in blue. It runs all the way up into the forearm here, and it situates itself deep under the flexor digitorum superficialis. Perhaps equally interesting are the extensor pollicis brevis, the abductor pollicis longus, which situate themselves in the other side of the forearm. You can see these in yourself by extending your thumb backwards and watching what muscles are accomplishing these motions. There's actually no physical therapy model or movement model that accurately describes the movement of the hand. This makes sense once you take a closer look at the bones of the wrist and realize how unique, three-dimensional, and detailed they are. Hard to model. So I find it interesting that we don't understand how the wrist works, yet we might finally actually understand how it works once we start to try and replicate it in humanoid robots.